Good morning. God is good. God morning. Let's put our full attention in the heart. Let's put our full attention in the heart. Full attention in the heart. Faith. You've got to have it so deep inside. You've got to have it so deep inside. So close your eyes and dream of the reality as you understand reality. Dream of a land more beautiful than you could ever imagine. This isn't it on this gross plane of physical existence, and of a diseaseless, always ever new joy, happiness, peace, compassion, oneness, and on and on. Reality, dream of it now with faith, full attention in the heart. You've got to have it so deep inside. 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 You've got to have faith, full attention in the heart. You gotta have faith, full attention in the heart. You got to have faith. You have to have full blowing faith. You gotta get back into your heart. Oh, you got to have it so deep inside. You've got to have it so deep inside. You've got to have faith, full attention in the heart. You've got to have faith, full attention in the heart. You've got to have faith. You've got to have full blowing faith. You gotta get back into your heart. You've got to have faith. That's my very favorite acronym for faith. Full attention in the heart. So we can love instead of think. That we can witness the changes while we remain unchanging in our faith, in our connection with the truth of us, here, now, and always. We thank you that this is so. Om Shanti, Shanti. Amen. We're going to jump right in, Soul Rebels. We're going to wrap today this verses 20 to 22 and move on. But more than move on, we're going to move move up. We're going to lift up. We're going to rise up. We're going to keep going higher and higher, which gives us, the perspective, the, the altitude, where we can now look down at all the shenanigans of our mind thinking, all the shenanigans of our erroneous beliefs, all the shenanigans of just being stuck in a human condition for so long now, right? That we can gain some perspective so that we can live more as souls, happy and free. I'm going to start by reading from lesson number 82, The Way to Immortality. We're going on this lesson, and we're going to hit it with this thought. Do not ascribe age or any bodily condition to your mind. You know the mind's the trickster. You know the troubles in the mind, right? Because we don't have control. Their thoughts are promiscuous. And they're all over the place. We still can't control them, right? So what's happening is we're ascribing age, we're ascribing bodily changes, and all other life conditions to our mind. That's where it is. Yogananda goes on to say the body is constantly trying to stamp its delusions on the mind. The body is constantly trying to stamp its delusions on the mind. This is just the way it's set up. This is the duality dream delusion we're talking about. As soon as you allow that, for the body to constantly stamp its delusions on your mind, as soon as you allow that, Paramahansa Yoganandaji says, you are done for. You are finished. The image of God within you has been hypnotized by the delusions of the body. You must dehypnotize it. Truth with a capital T. Right there. Right there. And you are going to see coming up here that most precious first realization of truth is this, what we're talking about right now. That you live hypnotized, that you live in a cosmic delusion. That's the first most precious truth to realize. I don't say that. Yogananda is going to say that. And he says that. And Maharishi says that. Right? He says that too. I want to just, Mirage, what is this? How do we say his name? I got to get it. Coming right up, he is. Yeah. Now, Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi. Yogananda met him, Ramana Maharshi, and just melted in ecstasy. They didn't say much. They just kinship of souls. He says the same thing. He's just all about truth. He has no other words to say, no other ideas to present, no other extraneous thoughts. And Paramahansa Yogananda is the same way. We have to dehypnotize ourselves from all the other rubbish that's going through our brains right now. That takes us outside. All right. This is a setup for some weeks coming up that could be that balloon that lifts you up higher into your high self, which you 100% are. You're not a doer of anything. Your higher self is, and you're going to learn to trust that high self 100%. All right. And then just a few pages later, he says this: the soul, here's some more unbelievable truth and wisdom. The soul outlasts all changes of its reincarnated physical residences. The soul outlasts all changes of its reincarnated physical residences. Here's what wisdom says. Here's what truth says. We must seek the everlasting energy. Om Shakti, Om. We must seek the everlasting energy, the everlasting, ever new, ever new, ever new, ever new, ever new, ever new joy, the everlasting joy of an immortal existence. We must then, hence, we are not seeking the everlasting youth of the short lasting body, but of the soul. I like this last thought. We must concentrate on the immortality of the spirit by meditation and then stamp the immortal happiness on the body. Flip it around. Instead of the body stamping everything onto your mind and you're just full of conspiracy theories in that brain of yours and ours. Now we're going to take the truth of our immortal nature, the realization as best as we know it, and we're going to stamp that immortal happiness on this physical body. Now, that's how you get the fountain of youth going in this physical body. You stamp the immortal consciousness into it, inject it daily. All right? Go on a diet of thoughts of your immortality until they aren't thoughts, they're realizations and perceptions. And I want to read you now, where you can stay in that right side of your brain, a beautiful poem by Yogananda called When I Found Thee. So close your eyes, put full attention in your hearts, my dear. This is not a time to think. This is not a time to even consider that you have the next moment or today. And everything else that you have prioritizes wherever you have it. Maybe probably top priority still if we're still hanging in human bondage land, controlled by the mind. This is called Where I Found Thee. I bow to thee in silver rays. I drink thee in the sunbeams. I stand in reverence before thy mountain majesty. I clasp thine image reflected in the lake. In the voice of the echo, I hear thy voice. I embrace thee in the calm caress of the breeze. I bathe in thy bubbly fountain in my bosom. I bathe with full faith in the bubbling fountain in my bosom. The explosions of my passions have died away. Yeah, I'm 73. That's why. Thank God for getting older in that sense, right? We do gain in some kind of wisdom and some kind of detachment, don't we? Well, no, we don't have a choice if we really want to, not be the last of the Mohegans and fight to the death that we are this limited being and have still things to do here. The explosions of my passions have died away, and I hear thy whispers in the pines and in the gentle swish of the laughing waters of the lake. Just beautiful imagery. And you all probably have some trees that you can listen to in a breeze in today, or some water, and go just hear that swishing and just listen. It's all God. It's all your soul. It's all the truth calling you. Come in. Come into yourself. Capital S. Come home, dear. Come home. I'm with you, always with you. I listened to thy sermons through the voice of my reason. I beheld thee plowing. This is the truth of truths. I beheld thee plowing the soil of my soul with trials and sowing the seeds of thy wisdom therein. Right? We know all trials is just the best learning we could have, where we sow some wisdom seeds because we realize that trial is not the reality. It's just to have us be a prod to our remembrance and to seek and lift higher in our consciousness, right? And to sow those seeds of wisdom. Every day I watered the seeds sown by thee. But it was only when the sunshine of thy mercy came. Have mercy, Lord. And he does, and she does. That those seeds sprouted, grew, and yielded the harvest of contentment. Suddenly, the waters, nature's green carpets, the blue vastness overhead, the opaque stones, and my body became transformed into a vast mirror by the magic touch of my silence. And I saw myself reflected in everything. Imagine seeing yourself reflected in everything today by the magic touch of God's mercy and his touch of silence. And you're reflected everywhere in everything, especially when you look in the mirror, right? And when in concentration, I looked at myself, I became transparent. Next time you look in the mirror, remember these words. Or remember that you are transparent, pure spirit. And in my transparency, I could not find me anymore, but only thee, only thee. What is realization? What is the joy that the great ones and the scriptures and the masters and the sages and your intuition and your learnings have told you about? What is that? Is that God is 100% me. My me is God, Saint Catherine of Genoa. My me is God, nor do I recognize any other me but God himself, right? And there's just the flood of the truth pouring through you while you exist in this human form in the world, but not of it. A perfect expression of your soul. This is the whole purpose of everything. Right there, right there. And it's only you, Lord. It's only you. I have nothing to do with it anymore. This is called grace and ease. Okay. And now one more little reading, and this is going to wrap up the wrap. So when the perception of God begins, this is from the Self-Realization Way of Life, page 8, lesson 18. When the perception of God begins, and that's what I'm saying is happening to us right now. It's our time. It's soul time. And it's not just us. There's many souls who are having soul time like we are. When the perception of God begins, you have no time for useless things. Because useless things just put more clutter, more thoughts in your brain. So the last thing you need is more thoughts about this and that. You want to remain by yourself. Seclusion is the price of greatness. God and yourself, me and my beloved. Do you need anything else, my dear? You and the one that is the one. Joy itself, happiness itself, unceasing love itself. Do you really need this world? Huh? We've got our, the stamp. We're stamping now. The soul, this wisdom, this wisdom truth on our minds. So our minds finally surrender. As Ramana Maharshi said, surrender is one of the mightiest prayers that we can have. Surrender to who you keep saying, Lord, I am. I am you. I am you. I am you. You are all. You are all. You are all. You do not want to waste a precious moment that could rather be spent with him or her. Even when such devotees are active, that activity never diminishes their perception of the love of God. This is what's, you'll see. I'm going to read that verse again as we wrap and get close to ending this chapter 8 about that single-hearted devotion, being a humble bhakti will take you all the way to the absolute supreme love of God. That activity can never diminish our perception, which is an intuitive experience in the center of your heart of your ongoing love of God. And it's ongoing, and it's going to keep increasing in you, not diminishing in you. It's going to keep increasing if you are increasing your desire for God alone, love alone. truth alone. Why would you want to mess with this delusion anymore? The cosmic delusion, that's your first precious realization of truth, that this is a cosmic delusion. How many times do you have to hear these words? Idle talking causes one to lose devotion for God. Idle thinking, worldly thinking about me. You lose your devotion for God. It feeds mental restlessness that takes the mind away from the loving presence. When the mind is calm, it becomes a divine altar for the presence of God. You wonder what inner peace is? Your mind becomes an altar. Your mind becomes a sacred place for feeling the presence of God that really is experienced in your heart. Now, that's going to be a bad day. That's going to be a doubtful day. That's going to be a worrisome day. Are you kidding me? Happiness is within. Remember, this whole couple months that we've been on has been about this paradise within us, this altar of peace in our mind, and this garden of peace that growing from all those trials, now blooming because we water them daily with more deeper meditation and practicing the presence throughout the day, right? In the garden of our heart. Now we have this beautiful altar of peace in the mind. Try unceasingly to keep your mind on God. Be with Him all the time. Practice His presence. Don't waste your time in this world of activity. Remember this, my dears. The daytime is the devil's playground. The only way to outwit the devil is to keep your mind on the divine with God. And when night comes, forsake the world and all your cares of the day and meditate. Be entranced with the love of God. You are responsible for yourself. Nobody here can help you. Don't look for it in anyone or anything. I don't care if you think you've got the best friends and the best job and the best grandkids in the universe. No, you have to depend on your soul first. And then those relationships will blossom as you blossom. They'll get happy as you get happy. They'll be more inclined to think of the truth than to be lost in another lifetime and caught up in the muck of the delusion. You change yourself and you change thousands. Your whole mind must be on God. That means every breath we receive that beloved's presence and then we exhale, we have to let go, relax, have a mini death in that moment and exude even more devotion. Just melt ourselves in our heart space with that one beloved with no thought of anything else. And then do another one and another breath like that. Be like the mother cow. The contented cow may be eating some distance away from her calf, but just go near the calf and see what the cow will do to you. Your soul is going to be like that mother cow. And as soon as a thought comes into your brain that is a no use to you anymore, you're going to see what that soul is going to do to that thought. That's the true, love blast. That's the true light strike right there. Gone forever. These thought forms that have created such misery over lifetime after lifetime. So that soul or the mother cow, whole attention is upon you, the restless mind, let's say, even though she may be elsewhere occupied with eating. You must be like that, doing all the work that is yours to do, but with your whole mind on God. That is the only way to happiness. Never give up your efforts to find God. The light that shows the way to God has been given to you through these lessons. Don't let it die. Everything else needs to die. But don't let your passion for God die. Many kindle a little light of desire for God and then fail to give it fuel and the fire dies. The flame of love and yearning must be fueled again and again and again and again with daily practice of meditation and self-discipline. Must be fueled. Our fire today needs to be brighter, stronger, more intense than yesterday. Is it? In the East, we seek and compare the various teachers and teachings, but when we find the path that can take us to God, then we stick to the path we have chosen through life and death. Thank God that's been the way for me and for some of you, or all of us, as of this point, if we put it in the now, right? I had such a love for all you yesterday coming onto the Gita. I was listening to an old Gita. I think I'm going to take a clip of the audio and send it all to you, because I'm going to do that maybe more and more, because it's just precious what has gone down and is going down for us. And I'm just so proud of you. You're the salt of the earth. Is that a good thing? You're cream of the crop, baby. Now, if you're staying on this Gita, if you love this Gita and you love it more and more, meaning the wisdom, you love the wisdom, you love what it's doing to the insides of you, huh? But slowly but surely, right? The tortoise won the race. Many superficial religionists expect that God's avatars will suddenly descend upon the earth, heralded by thunder and lightning and miraculous demonstrations to draw people back to God. No, they just slip in when you least expect it in an incarnation or incarnations. Huh? Whether you're going to school in Santa Barbara like me and heard of the autobiography for the first time, or however you found it, just slipping in, right? But I don't think that was heralded by thunder and lightning and miraculous demonstrations. The power of God is the power of life. The power of simplicity is every minute working all the miracles of this stupendous universe, but it doesn't think much of himself. Never would he seek to impose himself on his children by trumpeting his own greatness. He is silent and very humble. And that's why we need to be humble lovers of him. That is why in humbleness and in silence you will find him. These I read many times through this last section on cultivating the Satya Yuga golden age consciousness in yourself, right? And in all the chakras. I read this many times to you. I want to finish by reading these lines again, or just almost finished. Let us live simply outside and be supreme happy within. Let us learn to build inner mansions of wisdom in the unfading garden of peace that blooms with the million-hued blossoms of beautiful soul qualities. Imagine your mind and heart, these beautiful, just blossoming soul realizations and soul experiences, truths, realizations, right? In your heart and mind, instead of whatever's going on there now. Let us learn to use the airplanes of imagination and intuitive vision to take flight in his kingdom of infinite beauty and bliss. Are you taking those flights every day? Are you? Let us soar in the arc of silence over the peaks of the highest wisdom, and let us roam in the land of endless beauty. This is all our soul. This is the truth. So how can we not be doing this? It's only that you believe in a complete lie that you are this something else, whatever you are, right? That we are in the hypnosis. We have to unhypnotize ourselves, dehypnotize ourselves now, and hold these kinds of thoughts over and over again. Let us get rich quick by acquiring the incomparable wealth of soul peace, which I promise you, my dears, will come to you if you love in every breath and every exhale, let go and surrender. The mightiest prayer of all. And let's become peace millionaires by acquiring the incomparable wealth of soul peace. Your mind's at peace and your heart's in love. You have found it. You're going to be transparent. You're going to have found not you, but the one who is you, the one beloved. Let us live in our self-created paradise. Come on. All right. That's where we are, all of us right now, in our ever evolving, ever growing, intensifying, more joy, more love, more peace, self-created paradise, which lies buried in our fancy. So get off all the fanciful things of this world. It's just glitter, says the Lord Buddha. It's a false, it's a bauble. It's a false piece of jewelry. And let us bring the living God of pure joy onto the altar of our hearts and worship him there with flowers of deathless devotion. So we had the altar, God coming into the altar of peace in our mind, and then on the altar of our hearts, let's bring the God of pure joy and worship him there with flowers of deathless devotion. Mix with those who love God. Cultivate God in the happy family of self-realization of all souls. You don't have to have a name. You don't have to have a physical person there. All souls who are waking up, which is our destiny. Every soul, everything that you see as manifested, animate, inanimate, is self-realized at some point in their journey. And remember, the spiritual path is not easy, but the worldly path is much more difficult. What a truth, right? Everyone says it's so hard to do this and this, do that. That's just an old notion. That is just a bad habit of thought that's been going on for so many lifetimes that you think that way. For it is fraught with unending fears and disappointments and fruitless spending of effort, the worldly path. Renounce the world, my dears. That's going to be the little clip I'm going to see, as Krishna told Arjuna. Renounce it. Renounce it. It's not you. It makes you unmanly and unwomanly to buy into this outer world. At the end of life, you'll see that all your time has been wasted in the pursuit of the will o' the wisp of physical happiness, which means so little. Money, body, everything you will have to leave behind. The only thing that will go with you and will stay with you as a permanent entity is the bliss of God. Feel his bliss now. Now. The end in mind, bliss, oneness, everlasting. And how are you going to feel that? Not by mock prayers when you utter the words in your mind is everywhere roaming. Do not let your thoughts run away. Go so deep that you can feel the presence of God. It's your only safety, as we talked about for the last couple of weeks. Your only safety is feeling the presence of God. This mock worship will not do any more, for God watches the heart. If in your heart there is love for God, then you will find it easy. You will find it easy. Relatively speaking, you will find it easy. For God is not hiding from you. You are hiding from him. Learn the true way of communion. Lessen your material burdens. Meditate deeply. Practice your self-realization fellowship lessons and Kriya Yoga. Remember, God tests your love for him. His test of delusion is very strong. Millions in the world today are not interested in him. That is why they are suffering wars and ravages, famines and troubles. The Lord did not create this world for material happiness. He does not want to build a temple of lasting happiness here. Okay? Why are you trying so hard? For a little bit, it's not even happiness because you're full of worry. How are you going to keep this money? How are you going to, is it going to, what if you lose some of your money and you're just worried and it's all 100% taking your full attention, not full attention in the heart. It's full attention on worldly madness. That's a complete delusion, a cosmic delusion, a cosmic hypnosis. He does not want you to build a temple of lasting happiness here. As the wave's home is the ocean bosom, so our home is in the bosom of spirit. If you watch television, seeing those images made of ethereal waves of light, remember that behind them is the astral world, and behind that is God. So anything you see out here, any image, person, thing, today even, it's going to seem so real, right? But imagine everyone's made of these ethereal waves of light, and remember that behind that is the astral light, and the astral world, and behind that is God. I see him every minute, every day. You want to say that to yourself. I see him every minute, every day, because I'm looking for him. I'm giving my full attention to seeing him. So must you remember God and forget your attachment to the world? Remember God, forget your attachment to the world. Remember God, forget your attachment to the world. Do your best. Do the best you can to carry out your worldly duties and responsibilities, but find the best shelter from all harm and sorrow in the bosom of God. This world will always have turmoil and trouble. What are you worried about? Go to the shelter of God where the masters have gone, whence they are watching and helping the world. You shall have safety forever, not only for yourself, but for all those loved ones who have been entrusted to your care by our Lord and Father. And that goes for all your many lifetimes and all your generations. If you sincerely follow this path of Christ, Krishna, and the masters, you won't want anything else. So if you're thinking of something else, we're not going deep enough in our surrender and our faith and our desire for truth. But if you sincerely follow this path of Christ, Krishna, and Master, you won't want anything else. For self-realization fellowship will take you to your highest goal, our own beloved God. I want to remain steadily in the Spirit of God, that I can give you something, that I can saturate you, bathe you, and change you forever, forever, and forever in the infinite ocean of light that I behold. And that is your Guru's promise. Jesus, Babaji, Larry Mahashai, Sri Teshwarji, I bow to you all again and again. It is your message from God that has permeated me. Whoever shall receive this message from me with an open heart shall not go away unfulfilled. His or her heart shall become a wonderful cup of realization that will gradually expand to receive the ocean of infinity, the power of the eternal spirit. May his light surcharge you. Everywhere you go, live God. Practice your Kriya. Be intoxicated with that communion with the Spirit. And whosoever sees your eyes shall change. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion. And may we be able to, Lord, awaken thy love in every heart. May we be able to, Lord, awaken thy love in every heart. Awaken thy love in every heart. And then finally, thoughts to live by. And then this wraps up those verses 20 to 22. Thoughts to live by Paramahansa Yogananda. Man and woman have come on earth solely to know God. He is here, man and woman. He and she are here for no other reason. This is the true message of the Lord. To all those who seek and love him, seek and love, seek and love. He tells you of that great life where there is no pain, no old age, no war, no death, only eternal assurance. So that is why it is worthwhile to seek God. All those who sincerely seek him will surely find him. Those who want to love the Lord and yearn to enter his kingdom, and who sincerely wish in their hearts to know him, will find him. You must have an ever increasing desire for him day and night. He will acknowledge your love by fulfilling his promise to you throughout eternity, and you shall know joy and happiness unending. All is light, all is joy, all is peace, all is love. He is all. Be in your temple of your heart right now. And let these waves of love crash on the shores of that heart of yours and ours and every heart, all beings. Relax your face, your cheeks, your eyelids. Bathe in the beautiful light, the Christ center, and feel the sun of cosmic consciousness, thousands of suns and moons bursting forth in a powerhouse luminosity at your crown chakra as you go transparent and feel just the bliss of God. And realize that it is all Him and her as you. And you don't even know you are a body. You only know this presence, the presence of our one beloved. We bow. Oh, peace. Amen. All right. Thank you for those of you who are here. Bobby, Narayanji, Clarks. Wow is all I can say. Wow, I bow to all of you. So as I turn these pages now, and I look at the very verse 22 where we stopped, and we have, I think, 4 more or 6 more shorter ones before we end chapter 8. But let me repeat this verse 22. And this needs to be something that you put up on your wall or your mirror, I keep saying, or have as a, get it done right and carry it in your pocket. This reminder: by single-hearted devotion, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, O daughter and son of God, each of you, that supreme unmanifested is reached by single-hearted devotion. He alone, the omnipresent, is the abode of all creatures. By single-hearted devotion, O sons and daughters of the Most High, that supreme unmanifest is reached by single-hearted devotion. He alone, the omnipresent, is the abode of all creatures. And in Yogananda's short commentary, the soul gives, I'll sing it, a human being may present to the infinite giver, to the infinite giver is love, love is love, the soul gift is love, to bestow that gift on God, or miserly to withhold it is man's only sovereign power, is man's only sovereign power. All else already belongs to the maker of heaven and earth. All else already belongs to the maker of heaven and earth. To the maker of heaven and earth, to the maker of heaven and earth, the soul gift is love. And then Yogananda says, by pure, humble bhakti, man becomes fit to enter even the ultimate haven, the immutable and unmanifested. There it is. By pure, humble bhakti, man, woman becomes fit to enter even the ultimate heaven, the immutable and unmanifested. You've got to have that faith. Faith. You gotta have faith. You gotta back, get back, get back into your heart and be a pure, humble bhakti. All right, I want to read to you some more of the Ramana's quotes then. Picked them up this morning, just happened to come into my vision. He says, Ramana, the present difficulty is that man thinks he is the doer, but it's a mistake. It is the higher power which does everything, and man and woman are only tools. Ramana says this, all sadhanas, all teachings, all paths are for getting rid of the delusion that you are the body. See, the body ain't going to stamp its stuff on this mind anymore. We're going to stamp our soul realizations on this mind. So he reiterates, deathlessness is our real nature. This is what he says. When we falsely ascribe it to the body, imagining that it will live for forever and losing sight of what is really immortal simply because we identify ourselves with the body. Are you ready to close your eyes, look up and in, and open the spiritual eye and know that you are light, the light of this world? Get ready. This is where we're heading. Next sections. This is good from Ramana. Effort is necessary so long as thoughts are promiscuous. You're all kind of saying, yeah, it takes a lot of effort beyond my scope. Yeah, because you think you're still doing it, right? You know, your higher self is the guide here, is the doer of this. So you let go of the stress of this, right? And know that the effort is necessary because the thoughts are still promiscuous. Surrender itself is a mighty prayer. That's where I got that thought from him. And finally, a bhakti, and he calls it a bhakta, it can be called a bhakta. A bhakta or bhakti surrenders to God and rests secure in his protection. A jnani, wisdom, knows that there is nothing beside the self and so remains happy. So a bhakti surrenders to God and rests secure in his protection. And a jnani knows that there is nothing beside the soul, the self, and so remains happy. And then Ramana says, one must adhere firmly in either of these courses. The bhakti who surrenders to find and reach and rest secure in the protection of God, a jnani who knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, who's realized that there is nothing beside the soul self and so remains happy with one or the other or both. We are both. We are both or both. We can adhere to both. Perfect balance, head and heart, right? Perfect unity with the emphasis on the single-hearted devotion in the heart. All right. I'm going to flip the page here, and we're going to go to page 740. I haven't said that in a while. And we're still on chapter 8, the way of release from the cycles of rebirth. These are verses 23 to 26. And these are such a trip, I must admit. And it might seem I had to really meditate on these and ask God for a way to explain this so that all of a sudden it just doesn't fly over our heads, right? Or just you just don't catch it, because we are all about just this simple understanding of truth and the highest wisdoms, right? So I think I found it. The first thing God said to my soul said to me when I was introspecting and meditating on how to do that, he said, make associations with some of this wisdom. Make association that we all can drop, and it's It was obvious. It's actually in the quote. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to read them through, just absorb them, and we'll get a little bit going on these. We have these four verses, which is not a lot of commentary and then we have 27, 28 verses 27, 28. All right. So this is a continuous of everything of what Krishna is still telling our soul. You know, he's telling that advanced devotee in you and me, and each of you are advanced because there's no way you could be here on this line today if you weren't advanced. When something has eclipsed part of that cosmic consciousness in you to make you believe otherwise, but you are advanced to be able to take this wisdom, highest wisdom, week after week after week after week. Oh, mightily blessed are you, my dear. Even at the end, Krishna says, in the end of the Gita, he says those of you who couldn't even understand most of the passages, but just stayed with it. He said, "You will come to me." Have a good rest of your forever. Okay, verse 23. I shall now declare unto thee, O best of the Bharatas, Arjuna. See, he keeps talking to you and me. Now he's saying this. I shall now declare unto thee, O best of Mickey and Lisa Clark and Jim Clark, Narayan and Bob and Nanda, the path traversing which at the time of death yogis attain freedom, and also the path wherein there is rebirth. So there's two paths. There's two paths, okay? There's really only two paths. Verse 24, fire, light, daytime, the bright half of the lunar month, the 6 months of the northern course of the sun. See, this is where I had to meditate on this, because I'll just go, wait, okay. Pursuing this path at the time of departure, the knowers of God go to God. Okay? Fire, light, daytime, the bright half of the lunar month, the 6 months of the northern course of the sun. Pursuing this path at the time of departure, the knowers of God go to God. Is that the path that you might choose? Remember, there's just one other. You could choose this one now if you want. Verse 25, smoke, nighttime, the dark half of the lunar month, the 6 months of the southern course of the sun. He who follows this path obtains only the lunar light and then returns to earth. These two paths for exiting from the world are reckoned eternal. The way of light, which was the first one I mentioned, leads to release. The way of darkness leads to rebirth, bondage, mortal bondage, in prison. Life as you know it today. Except we get these little glimmers. We're still here. We're still sowing the seeds, right? We're still gardening, pulling weeds. We're still having as much faith as we can. We're still dealing with the trials and not taking them too personally anymore, right? And on and on. These mysterious stanzas, Yogananda comments, woefully misinterpreted by nearly all commentators. Woefully misinterpreted by nearly all commentators. Aren't you glad we got this commentary, though? Huh? You know, he got it by tuning into Krishna and Arjuna, Yogananda. And of course, Sri Yukteswar, that's how he learned from Sri Yukteswar. He learned the Gita through Sri Yukteswar, just key verses, but then he intuited all the rest through the intuition that he was mercifully given by Sri Yukteswar as his guru. He tuned in with Arjuna and Krishna and Vyasa, who ended up writing this thing. And some say in the circles of SRF that Yogananda was Arjuna. So aren't you glad we have this commentary? Because these stanzas here, you'd go, what? This whole thing, you'd go, what? Right? I listened to this thing I'm going to send you. I just crack up now when I listen to it. This our old streams or anything because I'm just so on fire that I know it's not me. None of this is me. And I know it's not me. I'm going bye bye. I'm melting. Transparent parrot. You know. You know. Uh, beam me up, Scotty. And so are you becoming more and more transparent. But these things are woefully misunderstood by nearly all commentators. In reality, they contain symbolic references to the science of yoga. They describe the opening of the spiritual eye, the awakening of the cerebrospinal centers, and the ascension of life force and consciousness through them to cosmic consciousness and liberation in spirit of the yogi who follows the way of light. See, a lot of people don't take liberation as anything. Anything. It's anything. It's the whole Gita, the purport of, I saw that word, purport, Purport, the purport. We're going to use this coming up. Of the Gita is liberation. And who wouldn't follow the way of light? I mean, you have no other option. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be spinning your wheels in the mud of delusion for a long, long time. And on the contrary, they describe also the dissension or return to body consciousness or rebirth of those yet unable to open fully all the cerebral spinal doors that lead ultimately to spirit. Liberation, freeing the soul from the physical, astral, and causal bodies, is the purport of these verses. The ponderous scriptures of the rishis have defined in veiled terms all these things that we're talking about. The ponderous scriptures of the rishis have defined in veiled terms the labyrinth of the soul's descension and ascension. Krishna has here stated that this portion of the yoga science succinctly for the comprehending Arjuna, for the comprehending Mickey, for the comprehending Jennifer Fitting. Anyway, yesterday when I was thinking of all of you, I said, I'm going to call you and just thank you, maybe cry with you a little bit. Because if we're not soul brothers and sisters, I don't know what is a soul brothers and sister. Loyal to the end. Hand in hand, we precious few, said Shakespeare in one of his poems, and they were going into a battle that they were going to get slaughtered. We few, we precious few, right? So I'm leaning that way, and I have to talk to you. I haven't talked to some of you in so long. What a elite, not from the ego standpoint at all, but from a humble point of view. What an amazing group you are. So Krishna has here stated this portion of the yoga science succinctly for the comprehending Arjuna, the advanced yogi devotee. The advanced yogi devotee. The rudiments are as follows. And I think since it's 10:59, that we will stop there and we'll catch these stanzas and we'll explain them next week. But when you see the associations that I placed with them, what is this fire mean? What does the light represent? What is the daytime? What is the bright? It all makes sense. And if we have those associations, we have daytime, right? We have fire, we have light, right? We have the bright side of the moon, the waxing moon, the waning moon, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then if those bring the memories of what is the esoteric. See this little paragraph right here, as he starts to do the commentary. It says the esoteric path of fire and light, followed by the yogi to liberation. The esoteric, all of Yogananda is esoteric. It is all about intuition. And in that intuition is the most practical way to live life. If you want to be happy here, you don't put your attention on this world at all. I'm going to try to send you that thing, probably on Dropbox. I think if I record it today. A clip from Gita number 12 that we did. I don't know, was that 16 or what, whatever. Number 12. I was just on fire, man. Of course, I bow to the spirit that's firing me up. I bow to the spirit that's firing all you up. And may we all just represent a huge blast out into our world of good vibes, good vibrations, and just the truth, the truth, the truth. God, I think I always just wanted the truth, always wanted the truth. The truth to me means everything. Let's pray that the whole planet, the truth starts to mean something, even the tiniest little bit. Okay. If we change, they will change. All right. Oh, wow. I bow, my dears, to who we are, and we give back the erroneous notion of who we think we are. We give it back. It's all God. It's all spirit. Now we focus only on one thing: union with the beloved. Om Shanti, Shanti. Amen.